Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever it is you tune into this. Things are a little bit different now. Welcome to my channel. I'm still kind of trying to calibrate what it is I want to do on here and how I want to go about it. So bear with me while I feel into those things. If you're new here, my name is Candice Wishman. I'm a psychic intuitive. I read energy. And I like to share with people what I discover and what I've experienced in the hopes that it will maybe make people feel a little bit less alone and make them feel better about what they're experiencing. Because energetically, things are very intense. Whether you believe in that stuff or not, you can't deny how much the world has changed and how it keeps changing and all of these things that are happening. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back and tuning in. I hope that means that what I am offering is helpful. I'm a creative, so I like to create things and want to get into astrology a little bit. My Venus and midheaven are in Gemini, so I like to dabble in different things. Multifaceted is what I like to call it. And right now I'm very much into human design, so you'll see a lot of human design stuff coming up on my channel because I want to share what I'm discovering. I think it's so fascinating, and human design allows people to... I just realized I didn't have my mic on. So, I mean, I'm pretty loud, so you could probably still hear me, but it kind of softens things a little bit sometimes with my mic. Okay. Human design it's like astrology, but different. So if you understand the premise of astrology and what it has to offer, human design is sort of the alchemical biorhythms of your life. Anyways, so you'll probably see quite a bit with that. We entered a new energy cycle today, and I use human design to do my energy analysis. It runs from the 5th to the 10th, I believe. And this particular energy cycle, and if you want to learn more about human design and the gates and all those kinds of things, I have a video. There's a link to the playlist in the description box, so you can read all about that if you want to do that. And the energy cycles run about 5 days, and they are here to help us and assist us with certain things that we're transmuting and experiencing and learning and evolving with and all those good things. This particular energy cycle is about divine expression and really being able to see the beauty in everything. And you may not feel like that right now. You might feel very dull. You might feel very... kind of like this, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's like Groundhog's Day. Groundhog's Day over and over and over again with subtle annoyances and frustrations. But in the big picture of things, in the grand scheme of things, there's actually a lot happening on an alchemical level, cellularly for us, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Lots of things are shifting, and you'll notice that some things might bring you comfort. And for those of you that like to be creative, and you don't have to be necessarily an artist to be creative, you're going to notice an amplification of this time of being able to create. And well, it's really not even about what's going to come of whatever you're creating. It's kind of just being in that flow of energy of creation and just letting yourself play in the energy. It can be seen as avoidance or distraction, I guess, but I don't feel that. I feel like it's actually soothing to the nervous system. And I think anytime you can soothe your nervous system, you're ahead of the game. So especially in these energies. I personally went through a very massive purge recently. I'm still purging out. I ended up in the hospital, all those crazy things. And it was scary. I'm not going to lie. I think anytime our health is ultimately threatened, there's a survival part of us that's going to go into fear. But my guides and my, my light beings of the omniverse that are here to walk with me for my greatest, highest light and resonance is what I like to call them. They were here with me the whole time. I had good friends that I could lean into and talk to. It wasn't just the physical stuff. There's a lot of different things breaking down for us, old narratives, old belief things that make us feel numb inside, almost helpless. But the interesting thing about this energy is if you can allow yourself to sit in the dullness and the numbness and the blandness of things, you can use that stillness to see the world with fresh eyes. You can allow the energy that's filtering your perception of things to move out of your existence, if you will. So normally when I do these energy analysis, I go full tilt, and sometimes I'm going to do a little bit more research and feel into things as I'm called, and sometimes I might just come on here and talk about the things that people are experiencing and feeling. I might pull cards. I brought out the Beyond Lemuria deck just to see if there's anything there, because I actually started out in numerology, and then I leaned into reading energy from cards and assisting people that way, and now I do more counseling and human design and the shadow deep subconscious work. So if that's something you're interested in, contact me. Maybe if you feel like it's aligned that we work together. But I just, things are kind of up in the air, but I'm feeling called to just share what I know as per usual, and teach people what I know about human design. I also have been creating some celestial guidebooks. The link's in the description box as well. So if you love to, if you love to attune to the moon phases or want something to do so you can honor the moon, and also honor your human design. And there's a reflective questions. There's things that you can learn about your profile, your type, all these things. The information, again, is in the link in the description box below, where you can click and it'll tell you all about what you get with them. But I make them weekly for each new moon phase, and people have found them really helpful and cathartic to give them something to focus on, or whatever it is, because as human beings, we're naturally going to want to we can only rest for so long. Rest is important. Rest is super, super important. But we have a threshold for that. Then we need to focus on something, and this just allows you to focus on what you do have control over and what you can shift through. So those are kind of new to the market, but so you may feel a little bit more creative during this time. You might feel, it could even be something as simple as organizing your pantry. There's a creativity to that. There's even though it's a very it seems a very linear task, it's something that's probably good for streamlining your energy. It allows you to focus on things that you have control over, because there's a lot we don't really have control over right now. And the more we try to control things and realize that we can't, the more, it's all a greater part of our expansion, but it's disempowering to try to control things you don't have control over, people, situations. So doing things that you can control, and not from a place of needing to control, but knowing that you're empowered and making you feel empowered and control can be very empowering, and when it's in the right, when it's in the correct alignment, whatever that means. That's very interesting how that comes through. Anyways, so doing the things that make you feel good in the moment are absolutely going to be super helpful. And if you can't do that, allow the stillness to shift your energy for you. Find a way to sort of tap out. And that's why sometimes the menial, linear, everyday household duties are really good for us sometimes, because we're concentrating on something that isn't so taxing. There's not, I mean, they're easy tasks, right? So we're still, I want to talk a little bit about this. We're still shifting out of the phase of over leveraging ourselves with responsibility, feeling so responsible for things, for people, for outcomes that we don't actually have a whole lot of power with. We have to shift. It's almost like we have to shift those filters, those belief systems, those subconscious narratives before we can step into truly becoming empowered and manipulating energy in a way that is for our greatest and highest good. Because I find sometimes trying to manifest when you have all these belief systems and filters, it's almost to your detriment. So just allow the things that are shifting in your life to shift, because they're bringing you into a state of recognizing what you can and cannot manipulate energetically. We can do so much with our bodies, with our environments, with our worlds, but we still have a threshold of limitation that's purging out right now. So all those weird things that are popping into your head, all of those like belief systems or anything that's really making you feel less than, that you didn't even realize that you were thinking that about yourself, is going to come forward in some way. There's a lot of intrusive thought energy right now. So you might be thinking some really weird things. You just get to register. Does this feel good and does it not? And for those of you, for human design, you have a very distinct way of navigating these energies if you lean into that. So you have your signature and you have your inner authority that's going to help you determine what's in alignment for you or not. So that's worth looking into. It's always worth looking into, because self-discovery is a space of, I'm going to pull a card before I go, but self-discovery is just allowing this, allowing the capacity for us to hold on to our self-confidence, like knowing who you are, regardless of what anyone else thinks or says or believes or has told you, is undoubtedly powerful. And which is why I just really sink my teeth into these things, because I love learning about the core of who I am, knowing that I'm meant to evolve from that, but truly giving myself permission to just be the way that I'm supposed to be, so that I get to make the choice about what I want to change about my life, is highly empowering. Anyways, okay, let's see what Beyond Lemuria has to say. Oh, yeah, trust your innocence. I really love this. We have a 54, which is change and stability through something coming to an end. I want to talk just a little bit about this, because I truly, it went really yellow there for a second. That's weird. Anyways, anywho, I really feel like when I talked about the subconscious narrative and I talk about the filters and the intrusive thoughts, all of those things are formed in our childhood. When we are the most innocent, when we are the most vulnerable, we set the rules and regulations and restrictions and limitations. When we're little, we start policing ourselves as adults. And I really feel like our inner child and our inner adolescent, because they're two very different phases of our life and two very different aspects of ourselves, is coming forward in its purity. When I think back to my child, the child version of me when I was a child, I pushed the boundaries on everything. Like, I didn't play it small. Of course, I was conditioned and programmed into being a more acceptable human being. So I'm currently in the phase of healing my inner adolescent as a teenager and just loving the crap out of her, because she really, truly felt like she wasn't good enough no matter what she did, and no matter, she learned how to appease people in order to be loved and accepted. And I feel like so much of what everyone's going through right now is shifting out of that childhood stuff, right? Like that part of us that's still very innocent. You know, we see a lot of people who do the wrong thing, or they behave in the wrong way, or whatever it is society is determined is wrong. But there's an innocence to that. Do you know why? Why do you react the way that you do? Why do you feel the way that you do? Why do you believe what you do? If you don't know the answer to those questions, there's a level of innocence to your experience that needs to be acknowledged and accepted, because it's through recognizing how innocent we really are that we get to let go and move on from the shame and the guilt and those lower vibrational feelings that keep us in line, right? They keep us small, and they keep us disempowered, and they keep us, you know, hopeless and helpless sometimes. And I really feel so much of this energy right now is reminding us of our innocence. It's reminding us of how good we really are, no matter what we've done or experienced. Because I guarantee you, especially if you're watching this, anything that you've done in the past that was bad, it was probably a conditioned response. It was a defense mechanism you developed at a time when your brain didn't have any kind of filter. And you just were doing the best you could with what you had. So I feel there's a deep reconciliation happening, even though it's a new energy cycle. I think the bigger picture here is that we're reconciling any parts of us that we hold against ourselves because we made mistakes, or because we didn't measure up, or, you know, because we were taught to judge ourselves. There's something really big shifting, and it's shifting out of us physically, emotionally, mentally. It's coming at us from all angles because it's really done. We're really closing out the era. And for me, I feel sometimes a little bit sad about that. You know, I think about my childhood, and I think about the good things. I think about the times with my family and how pure it was, and how, you know, how good it felt. And again, that's probably just a limiting belief, thinking, you know, we're closing out those timelines, you know, we're going to forget all about those memories, or they didn't matter. But that's not true. They still do, but it's sort of, there's a little bit of a grieving process, I think. Anyways, I hope you're all very well, and I hope that this has helped in some way. I'm sending you all lots of love, and take care.